today, we're going to talk about clinching. We're going to talk about moving forward, we're going to talk about what our options are as we do this, okay? So, we might as well start with our overhooks and our underhooks, okay? So, when somebody ties somebody up, there are really 4 ways that you clinch, that you stall somebody out in boxing in a way that the ref would intervene, all right? You either get double overhooks, double underhooks, some version of that, you know, over under, but you're controlling both person's arms and your chest to chest. Yeah. Okay? You either get the person's head under your arm, yeah. That's the other thing, or you give them the classic like bear hug, where like you've got your high guard up, and I just like mash everything together like this, okay? Which is fine, you know? So those are the ways that like the action will be stalled in a way that the ref will intervene. You know, your posture's broken, your arms are otherwise occupied, okay? The rules say, and we've been over this before, the rules say that if one arm is free, then you should be working with it until the ref intervenes, okay? That's the idea. So, when one guy is trying to tie you up, what he's trying to do is he's trying to establish control of both of your arms. When you're trying to not get tied up, if you don't want to get tied up, you need to establish control of his head and his posture before he gets control of your arm, okay? So, when I talk about clinching, you know, I don't say clinching is easy, but like, you get a hold of the guy, you're stalling, you're not trying to create space, you're not trying to keep the fight going, you know? We'll talk about the details of that. When I'm trying to not get clinched, all right, the first way that you don't get clinched, you watch all our inside fighting videos, you remember the answer to this? The #1 defense of the clinch is extreme violence, unyielding, unstoppable, doomslayer-esque violence, all right? That's the move, okay? And that surprises guys. It really does, especially if you get a guy hurt. Like you see this all the time. Like this happened to me in the Santiago fight, you know, where like I hurt him to the body, you know, and he's reaching to hold me to buy a minute, and you're just bah, 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 bah. Just don't let him get into you. So there's that. I'll ignore that for now. The other way, you grab an overhook or an underhook on there, whatever you want. Beautiful, okay? So let's commit to this overhook on this side, okay? So you got this really nice overhook over here, all right? This is really good. Now it's important to remember, you have the overhook, I have the underhook, okay? It's not like I don't have something, okay? I have something. Now, if you have the underhook, which is what I do, the next thing I need to do to stop you from getting this arm is I need to get control of your head. So as you start swimming for this arm, go ahead. I'm going to try to create some space. I'm going to try to slide over, and I need to wedge this arm in tight to your neck. That's where I need to be, all right? From this position, I'm going to do it to you in a second. From this position, I act like I'm arm wrestling with my underhook. So I push my fist down, I lift my elbow up, and then I want to bring my weight onto the back of your neck to bring posture, to bring you down, okay? There's a million examples of this, all right? The biggest one that you're going to see, or the easiest one that I can remember, it's really obvious, is when Rigondeaux fought Lomachenko. You remember that fight? Yeah. That was a great fight, and Loma really showed that every time Rigo, who has a wonderful amateur piper, you know, he knows how to tie up, he knows how to buy time, you know what I mean? Every time Rigo tried to tie him up, Loma was like, absolutely not. He always got control of his neck and his head before Rigo got control of his arm. Okay, so again, you'll feel it again. You've got that overhook, I've got that underhook. I wedge my hand up in here, and then all I'm doing, shoulder down, elbow up, and I'm breaking your posture, like this. All right, now if I want to hit from here, I can't hold the back of your head and hit. So it's really important that I break and I throw this hand that is on the back of your head. Now, usually, by the time you break somebody's posture like that, the refs will be like, whoa, his head's below the hips. All right, separate. And that's fine. But you denied that guy the clinch. You fried out his back. You showed you're in control of this fight, you know? And you did not let him get what he wanted to get, which is important, all right? So, let's talk. So we're right here. Now, you've got the underhook, all right? I've got the overhook, all right? So you can kind of feel, you can kind of feel if you press your fist down, like your arm wrestling, lift your elbow up. See how much control that gives you? You've got an immense amount of control here. Yeah. All right? While I'm busily fumbling for this hand, I want you to punch this hand up and through, and then here's all you're doing. You're hook your wrist like that. Good. Push my head down and lift that elbow up. There you go. There's nothing I can do. You can just dog walk me wherever you want. I'm in a really tough position. Yeah, okay? Yep, it keeps you safe. And again, it denies that clinch. You can break this person's posture, and then you can release him, you can start fighting him. You don't have to wait for the ref. This is not a static position, which we talk about a lot. All right, you know this from wrestling. This is dynamic. This is flowing. You need to create and use space on your terms. That's one of the things about the inside.
Yeah.
So this person's trying to collapse that space. You know, you effectively get control of an arm, and then you get this elbow in here. Some coaches, like boxing jams, they call this the wedge. You've heard him use that term before, where you've got this V of the elbow acting as like a bar. You know, that's the idea. If you can break me down real quick, spin me out of position, and then let go and work, I'm popping up into a situation where I'm not in a position to grab you again. You've denied that, you know? You see, Floyd does this a lot when guys try to clinch him. He just puts his elbow like in their neck.
You actually came up in the southpaw, so if you were orthodox.
Yeah, well, that's just because you have this arm. I'm making it,
Yeah,
I'm making it easier on you, you know what I mean? Yeah. So just giving us more space to work. Yeah, but Floyd literally sticks his elbow right in guys' necks. You know, I always tell my guys, if you're using your elbow, try to keep it in their chest and in their shoulders. Floyd's like, he's sticking that elbow right up in people's faces. You know, but that's a good thing, you know? That's one of the differences between, like, sparring with your teammates, elbow in the chest, and fighting, elbow in the fucking face.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, try to let him get through that, you know? Okay, so, now, when I've got the underhook, what you just did, I always think about, like, arm wrestling and weight down. That's the idea, okay? When I've got the overhook, all right, I need to think about creating tension on that person's arm, okay? So if you and me switch, you got the underhook, and now I've got the overhook, all right? So what I'm going to do is the number one most important thing is I need to get control of your head and your neck. So, you know, we're fumbling over here. Maybe I use my head as a spacer so that you can't get a hold of my arm and go chest to chest with me, and then I slide my head up. There's a million different ways that you can get there. But I need to find a way to get my wrist here, okay? Now, from here, instead of holding tight, which I'm never going to win holding tight here, what I need to do is I need to stretch you out. So I want to push your head as far away from your glove as I can, and I slide down to the end of your arm. Okay? And that arm's going to catch, that glove's going to catch in my armpit like a ball and socket joint. And then from here, this goes back, and this tension makes me strong, and it allows me to break your posture and put you where I want you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep, and you can do the same thing. It's easier if I put a glove on, you don't really see it. We're here, so you've got the overhook. I've got the underhook. Good, we're right here.
Do we just
Yeah, whatever, we just started. We're like on the inside. So we're here and you tied up my arm. Okay, cool. So you're in a great position to slide that hand up. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna push my head and my glove as far away from each other as you can. Go ahead.
Am I rotating?
Nope, just push. Yep, and see how that catches on the end?
Yeah.
And it's really important that you keep that tension, because if you let me bend in, I have a say in this.
I see.
If you deny me this joint right here, this is such a long lever, I can't win it. Now, you force my head down, and you can spin a little if you want. But you can see it's really hard for me to get up. The final part of this is you want to rest the heel of your palm right there. Lock your elbow. Yep, good, keep tension. Now there's nothing I can do. Because now no matter how hard I work, this is like holding up a 405 bench with locked out elbows. You might not be able to bench 405, but it ain't getting through that locked out elbow. And you've got me in a terrible position where I can't get to you and I can't work, and either you can let go and hit, now you've created all this space, bang, which is perfectly legal, all right, because you're not holding the head and hitting, you have one arm tied up, or, yeah, the ref will show up and he'll break us, or you can exit on your terms, you know? Yep, you got all sorts of options, all right? But again, if you have the overhook, long, if you have the underhook, arm wrestling, strong. That's the way to think about it. And you know, all my athletes, even small athletes, can do this. Like Gretchen can do this to me.
Yeah.
You know, it takes some practice to get it right, but this is how you deny the clinch off of an overhook or off of an underhook, okay? The next thing to keep in mind is that wedge. If somebody's just trying to hug you, they're not worried about overhooks and underhooks. Just like Floyd, just put that elbow in their chest. You know, if I put my elbow in your chest, you're not going to be able to break my upper arm to close this space and tie us up. All right? I always tell guys, you don't want to be like this. Because if I'm like this, if you're trying to grab me, go ahead. Grab me, pull me in. There's nothing I can do. It's like a push-up, see what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't stop myself from getting pulled in. But if I do this, now pull me.
I don't want to.
Exactly, you don't want to. I don't even have to work, you know? And again, we talk about spacers. You know, that wedge, that's a spacer. That elbow, that's a spacer. Me sliding my shoulder up and in, that's a spacer. Me getting my head in there, that's a spacer. Unless you're who is that character from Game of Thrones? The Mountain. You're not going to squish my head if my head is in between us, you know? So what a lot of guys will do, you know, maybe you're trying to grab me and tie me up, so you go to give me that bear hug. Good, and I'll start by getting my elbow in there. And then I'll get my head in there, so while you're trying to bear hug me, at least I can work. You know what I mean? But you want something that is not force meets force, acting as a barrier between you and that person if they're trying to clinch you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, whether it's a bone or whether it's your head, that's a bone, I guess, you know, something that cannot be broken or folded is the idea. I don't want people pushing away. I see that a lot, especially with Thai guys where you're allowed to fight in the clinch. But Thai's different, you know, you can bring your hand in from the side here because you can fold that into an elbow after the fact. That's not a strong position. It's a good offensive tactic in a Muay Thai rule set.
Yeah.
But this is not a strong position in boxing. If you're trying to hold me, you're just going to fold through my arms and you're going to get that clinch and then the ref's going to have to show up. You know what I mean? Don't do this. Do this, nice and strong. Okay? Questions on any of this stuff so far? I know we're talking about a lot. We're going to keep going with it. Don't worry. Yep.
No, I got it.
The only thing I fear is there's not a lot of clinching at this gym because everybody knows how to fight on the inside. So like you're not going to get people trying to grab you in the clinch to practice this as much, but we'll get a chance to practice some live drill that we're going to do.
There's some moments where I know I can get it off, like split seconds.
Yeah.
Like when you guys are pressure fighting and you're closing at distance and you're like in those moments where I want to stop the punches.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to figure out how to get the under or overhook.
And that's what we're going to talk about.
That's I already know the applications I want to use.
So this is denying the clinch.
Yeah.
So and I think that's the place to start because the clinch is, you know, it's illegal in boxing. I've never seen anybody have a point taken for it or anything. But the clinch is illegal in boxing. So like it's important to learn how to deny the clinch first, and then you can talk about how to establish the clinch, which is where we're at now. Okay? So establishing the clinch, like I said, if you are the one who wants to establish the clinch, not deny the clinch, your responsibility is to get control of both arms. Okay? Yep. If you want to deny the clinch, you need to get control of an arm and their head. If you want to establish the clinch, you need to get control of both arms. I'm going to ignore the bear hug. Okay. Because that's amateur shit.
Yeah,
you know
I don't
what
need
I mean?
to learn that.
Yeah, and the honest answer is like the bear hug will work if you recognize that you need to come into contact first. And at that point, you'd rather have better control with the overhooks and the underhooks anyway, so I'm going to ignore the bear hug. You know, so my first rule for the clinch is that if you're the one trying to establish the clinch, you need to come into contact with the person first. You do not reach for the clinch from the outside or the middle distance. You physically come into contact with the person first. So I'm not getting stance, middle distance. So I'm not here reaching for the clinch. Obviously, that's going to get me fucking killed. Even if I know what I'm doing, if I'm here and I reach for the clinch, that's going to get me killed, all right? You don't want to be, as Bob would say, you don't want to take your hands off your head for anything other than punching if you're standing in front of something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, so once we come into contact, now if I want to bear hug you, or if I want to swim for an overhook or an underhook, now we can do that, okay? So, contact first in this order of operations. It'll keep you alive, okay? So, let's say we end up on the inside here. All right, so now it's easier to get to these positions, all right? It's easy for you to grab an overhook on this hand. Good. It's easy for you to grab an underhook on this hand. See, those are easy things to do once we're in there. This over-under will keep you nice and safe. The only problem with the over-under is it uses a lot of energy. Whereas if you can get double underhooks or double overhooks, it uses almost no energy. So now, from these double underhooks right here, here's what I want from you. Okay, let me sneak in here. Good. If you want to get control of this person, have the ref come and help you out, or spin him, or do whatever, or just slow somebody down in a self-defense situation. I put my hands up on them. I imagine they're making a V, like a Christmas tree. And then you're a wrestler, and I'm from Iowa. Gable grip. The gable grip works.
I've never tried to
The gable grip works especially well with gloves because you're not interlocking your thumb, you're grabbing onto the meat of your thumb.
Okay.
So this kind of double hooking action of the gloves is going to catch more securely than any other grip that you can use behind somebody, okay? Now, the next part of this is I need to take this person off their feet. So elbows in, chest big. That's it. That's how you establish control that they will not be able to break. So if you feel me do it to you, I get these double underhooks, lock my hands, elbows in, chest big. And then you can get down, which is the first step toward creating leverage to getting out of this situation. If I'm here and I'm relaxed, just drop your hips. And you're going to break this. See how my hands just come apart?
Yeah.
So it's important that I keep my elbows in and I keep you up tall. All right, so again, you get double unders on me. Gable grip. Good, elbows in. Tuck the chest up. There you go. See, I'm literally on my toes now. So there's nothing I can do. Relax it for a second. Yep, keep your grip up. Yep. You can feel, if we're right here and you're kind of relaxed, what I'm going to do is the same thing everybody does. Where I'm just going to drop my hips down through and make you break your grip. You see, Loma's really good at that. I use Loma a lot because Loma stands out among a lot of those guys with like a really extensive amateur pedigree as a guy who just like refuses the clinch. He just denies the clinch at every opportunity. You know, you hear a lot of coaches. I think it's Mustafa Boxing. You know Mustafa Boxing?
Yeah.
Where's he at? Is he out of St. Louis?
Atlanta.
He's out of Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, nice. Mustafa Boxing says all the time, like, the clinch is optional. You do not have to consent to the clinch. And I'm a firm believer of that too. Like, I don't ever, because everybody tries to clinch me. That's the first thing everybody does when they realize that they cannot jab me and keep me off of them, is everybody tries to clinch me. And like, I don't think I've ever been stuck in a clinch. I guess I got clinched once with Giovanni. There you go, he got me. And I remember he whispered to me when he got me, he said, I got you. And I was like, damn it, you did get me. Yeah, but yeah, usually you drop your weight down and that uses the expanding from your narrow torso up to your shoulders to kind of like separate that person's hands and it lets you break through. Dropping that weight down is important for breaking the clinch, okay? But if you get double underhooks, hands together, elbows in, chest out. That's what we want to do, okay? Double overhooks, very similar thing, all right?
Well, just quick detail. Is it always left over?
No, it's wherever you feel.
Okay, so I can't.
I just prefer left on top,
okay.
You know, but everybody has their thing.
It does feel better.
It does, you know. And again, you got to goofy wrists, so I'm sure you have one way that feels much better.
Exactly, this way.
Yeah, so find which one feels good for you, but it won't matter, you know. Okay, cool. Double overhooks, all right? If I have double overhooks, I just stick your arms out for me. So here's the important thing. If I get double overhooks from out here, you're going to get it. There's too much room. I need, when I get these double overhooks, to get them above your elbows. If I don't get them above your elbows, none of this is going to work. Okay, so once I get them above your elbows, same thing. Gable grip, elbows in, sit up tall. That's it. Nothing changes. All right, and you can feel if I do it to you, you don't have any fat elbow. I'm not going to hurt you.
No.
But, you know, so I'm here. Gable grip, elbows in, stand up tall. There's nothing you can do. I got you up tall, and unless you can get one of your elbows out, which we're going to talk about next, you're stuck. And certainly, I don't have to keep you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I need to keep you for the 4 seconds it takes the ref to move in the corner to spin you over for the ref to say, oh, obviously, both arms are tied up. Great. You know, cool. But you can do the same thing to me. So you got double overhooks, gable grip. There you go, elbows in, stand up. And you can see how that puts a lot of pressure right on my elbows. That's a very uncomfortable position. You can feel. You always know that you're clinching fucking aces. No matter the person's on their tiptoes. Whether you're puffing your chest up and they're like, oh God, I'm just hanging here. Or whether you're lifting your elbows and they're like, oh God, that hurts, I'm up here, you know? But they can't drop their weight. Like, I would never feel comfortable dropping my weight.
Yeah.
That would really hurt.
Just moving forward.
Yeah. And it's an easy way to walk a guy where you want him, you know? And this is one of the reasons why, like, I do all this stuff when I do, every once in a while I get froggy, you know, this is my base sparring with the boys.
Okay.
And like, I can navigate a clinch really well, still, all right, even all these years later, you know? Though they get meaner every time, you know how it is. All right, so double overhooks, double underhooks. You can do over-under, but you can feel because you can't lock your hands and take somebody's weight off their feet, you're using strength. That's like curling. If I've got an over-under and I'm just squeezing my biceps and everything in, I'm holding that person in place using force, you know? Something I'm a firm believer, you always reserve the right to try to problem solve with speed, power, aggression, strength, whatever, you know? But I'm a firm believer, there's not a single situation in boxing where the optimal way to solve a problem is by meeting force with force. There's always a way to let that force pass through you, let that other person work hard, you know? You saw me doing that, was it Anthony yesterday when we were doing the defense rounds? he got a hold of me and he tried to spin me and I just like kept spinning him.
Oh no, and then you got yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
That was hilarious.
And again, you can see, I'm not trying to muscle him to the ropes. I'm waiting for him to commit to an action and just letting that action carry out. I'm exaggerating that action. You know? One of my favorite examples of this is James Toney does a really, really good job of when somebody else tries to bump his shoulder on the inside, he uses that shoulder bump as extra power, as like a catalyst to start up his right hook, which I love. It's so cool when he does it. You see him do it a lot in the Samuel Peters fights up at heavyweight, where they both end up shoulder to shoulder here, and you go to bump my shoulder, and I just let that bump start this shot. It's a really smooth move. I really enjoy it, you know? Yeah, it's always slick when you see.
What does he do after this?
Usually he throws the 3 and steps off to his open side. So again, if I do this to you, we're here. I'm gonna bump your shoulder. When I bump your shoulder, use that to throw the 4. Bang. Same time.
I was like, you were going, yeah.
So when I bump your shoulder, use that to throw the 4. Bang. Good. Now step your right foot as you throw the 3. Bang. And now you're clearing through. Yeah. That's how he likes it. He likes to go bang, bang, and walk right through that open side. That's such an easy exit. You know? Cool. Questions so far? Obviously, I got tons more stuff, but.
So let's say we're at the middle. The middle range. In the pocket.
Cool.
And I have my height. Yep, height.
Okay.
Around roughly this, and you're throwing a punch. So I want to just base off of like the different punches.
Yeah.
How to get these grips. Or these
Okay, so we're gonna get there.
Okay.
Good, I'm happy. I like the way you think about this. This is really good. So first we need to talk about what your other options are with overhooks and underhooks, and then we're gonna get to how to Okay, cool. So let's start, okay? When you have, what do you want to do, overhook or underhook first?
I feel like I might be able to, well, I guess it depends on the height of the person.
We're gonna do both. All right, so when you have an underhook, I'll take the lead here. All right, so when you have an underhook, all right, think about what do you do when you get double underhooks? You lift me up, right? So when you have this underhook, you can lift with this hand, all right? So you can steer me, all right, in this direction. You can lift me up off of my base. That's the idea. If you can get your head in here nice and strong, pinch that in tight, now you can really see. Think about an arm wrestling move. Feel the difference when you lift that elbow and you push that hand down. So when you have an underhook, you can steer me toward the far side of that underhook, okay? And it's really hard for me to resist that. You can feel if you're trying to pull me this way, it's significantly less effectual.
Yeah.
You know, all right? So, but if you have an overhook, now, if you try to steer me this way, it's not very effectual. But if you try to hang down on my arm and pull me this way, it yanks my shoulder right out of position. Wow. And that's a really important thing to remember. Don't try to fight against grips, against type. You know, if I'm under, I'm like a fucking forklift. Right? I'm lifting you up and turning you in that direction. If I'm over, I'm dragging you down and pulling you in that direction. And you can feel it in reverse. So if we're here, let me get that overhook. So you can feel strong stance. Right? Don't let me move. If I try to pull you this way, I'm really going to struggle with that, even though I'm trying. But if I try to hang on you this way, you move so easy. You know, and the same thing in reverse, you know, fight me, don't let me move you, okay? If I try to pull you down this way, that's really hard. But if I just lift you up and steer you, I didn't even use my hips, that was just my arm. You know? So that's the other thing. I see a lot of guys, they end up in the clinch, and they're really muscling, you know? They've got like a over-under, which by all rights means I should be swiveling you in this direction, because I can pull this shoulder down and lift this shoulder up. And they're literally here just like, and I'm like, man, you're using 10 times the energy to get a tenth of what you need done.
Yeah.
And again, like this is the thing, like I would rather spin a guy around 1.5 times to get him where I want him and use no energy than try to spin a guy half a time around fighting against the grips that I have, the holds that I have, and make it way harder on myself. You know, you and me were talking about this morning, we were saying you need to find moments where you can rest.
Yeah.
Where you can active recover in boxing.
Exactly.
And if you have a fundamental misunderstanding of the mechanics of an overhook or an underhook, you're always going to use way more energy and strength, and it's going to leave you way more depleted than you should be trying to fight through those positions. Make sense?
Yeah, which is the opposite of what I want.
Yep, exactly. You want to be as efficient and cool and calm and collected as possible. That's the move. Okay, cool. What's that joke I was making? Keep cool but never freeze. I learned that from mayonnaise jar. Okay, cool. Keep cool but never freeze. It says it right on the mayonnaise jar. Anyway, okay. So, we've got overhooks, we've got underhooks. What are our other options when it comes to overhooks and underhooks, okay? So, the first thing to remember is don't overthink it. If you have an underhook, you're under. Hit the fucking body first. Everybody tries to fight against the position that they have. But if I've got an underhook here, all right, if I'm trying to punch you in the head, even if I can hit you, I can't follow through. All right, what I should be doing is I should be working the body. There isn't anything there that's stopping me from working. And it plays out the same way reverse. If you've got the overhook, pull that overhook out and hit you in the head. Bang, you're on top. Everybody tries to punch you in the body. I'm like, that's cool, you can hit it, but you can't follow through. Your elbow can't even follow through. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to say you're wasting your time. There are certain guys, like I was watching a fight with George Foreman yesterday, one of his comeback fights, you know, he's fighting a guy who's a foot taller than him. He can hit your body from having overhooks. That's fucking fun. Because he hangs way over and you've got the underhook and he just goes bang, bang. And your elbow isn't even wide enough to stop his elbow from following through, you know? But generally, if you have the overhook, it's easier to hit the head. If you have the underhook, it's easier to hit the body, okay? Now, you have one additional thing. So we talk about how to lift, how to hang. We talk about hitting the head. We talk about hitting the body. And then the additional thing is when you have an underhook, I can wing my elbow and exit. We talked about this yesterday. So if you've got that underhook, if you lift your elbow up, look at this nice window, just step through. There you go, and you're gone. It's one of my favorite exits on the inside. Nobody ever sees it come. And if you're really good, guys will try to grab you on the way through, they'll miss, and then they'll be down a hand for you to be able to hit back, which is great, you know? And then the other thing you can do with the overhook is just like we did when we denied the clinch, is you can use that overhook to drag somebody's arm away from their vitals and then attack into that open space. So Roberto Duran is great at this. But Roberto Duran ends up like head to shoulder on the inside like this, and he's doing all this stuff. And he'll catch the overhook, and he'll drag that hand way out, and then he'll punch, and then he'll punch.
So is it mainly, when orthodox versus orthodox, you're mainly dragging out the lead arm?
It could be either. I only grab the lead arm because this is the easiest place. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we're here. We're on the inside. All right, cool. I get my overhook. I get some sort of brace, whether it's my head or whether it's my arm, all right, and I pull this arm away so that I'm nearer to your targets, my fist, than your hand is. Your hand is behind my hand. Bang, and I throw that shot. Okay, I can do the same thing over here. So maybe you swim for an underhook on me, and I say, no, I got the overhook. So again, I create some space, I pull this hand away from your body, and then I can come up, and I can whip that shot through.
Okay.
Does that make sense? But I'm for
some reason I was visualizing something over here.
No, I can do it all right
there.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I wanted to see.
The other side. So I'm gonna have you do the same thing to me. So you know, we're here, inside. Yep. And let's say I grab the underhook. So that means you've got the overhook. So drag that hand away from my body. Yep, you can use that as a spacer. That wedge is great. Or I like, because then it gets this hand through, you can use your head. So get your head low onto my shoulder, lower, raise my arm. There you go. Now pull this hand away. Good. And now whip that right hook up right to my face. Bang! And I'm never going to get this hand back in time.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Cool. All right, you can do the same thing on the other side. So let's say we are here. And let's say maybe I'm trying to be clever. I'm like, oh, I'm going to swim over to his right shoulder. So I swim my underhook in. That means you have the overhook. Good. Slide your head over this side, pull that arm away from my body, and then come up and whack me with that hand. Bang! It's really hard for me to see it, too. And I certainly can't beat it in. All right, your head hides that shot. The same way that coaches talk about if a guy throws up his high guard, hide behind his guard, and he can't see what you're doing. If you're on the inside, hide your shots behind your head. Bang! So a guy can't see what he's doing. You know? It's really, really, really hard to fight with blind. You know, Mike Tyson talked about, he had an interview in the late 80s, I don't remember who it was with, but he talked about the 3 things you need to knock somebody out. Did we talk about this earlier this week?
We talked about when I first came, yeah, I remember.
Gotcha. I remember the 3 things?
It was, body head.
All right, cool. So the 3 things that Mike Tyson says you need to knock somebody out are you need space to accelerate the shot. Ideally, the person's moving into the shot, and ideally, the person doesn't see the shot coming. I haven't knocked out as many people as Mike Tyson, but I've knocked out a couple dozen people, and I think anecdotally the most important of those three things is that they don't see the shot coming.
Okay.
Because again, a good fighter can brace for a shot if he sees it coming, even a tremendously hard shot if he sees it coming. You know what I mean? But if you can deny him seeing it coming, that counts for a lot. The number one punch that I hurt people with is my tight right hand over the shoulder, and that's because they can't see it coming. You know, when we're here hiding behind that shoulder, it's really hard to see that shot until the very last second where it sneaks through. You know, so that counts for a lot. If I hit like Tyson, I might value the other things more, but as somebody who is an entirely average hitter, the element of surprise is my best friend, you know? Okay, so, underhooks, I can lift, I can work the body, I can use them to create an exit. Overhooks, I can hang, I have a quick shot to the head, and I can drag their arm away from their body to create opportunities to hit. Okay, those are your big options with those tools. Question?
Exit from overhook.
Exit from overhook. You're already over.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that's kind of a throwaway, but I'll show you what I mean by that. Yes.
God, something about the video.
So let's talk. All right, so I always ask people to remember this, you know. We talk a lot about like small pressure fighters with good responsible guards. We're small pressure fighters with good responsible guards, all right? You know, we talk a lot about if I throw a right hand and you block it, you're inside of my defenses. So you can catch and pitch that hand, you can hit me. That's great, okay? But that doesn't mean that I'm at a loss, all right? You're inside of my defenses, but I'm outside of your offenses. So I know it's a weird thing to say, but it means there's nothing here that you can hit me with. So I can always exit if I've got top control with the hand. There's nothing to hold me in. Now, asterisks, MMA, kickboxing, spinning back fist, careful. All right, the lane theory changes a little bit when like you think you're safely elbow side and I can spin. That does change things, all right? But, you know, same thing plays out with overhooks. You know, so if I've got an overhook and you've got an underhook on me, go ahead. So I'm right here. As long as I can, you know what a whizzer is?
No.
Yeah, you wrestled, you should. All right, anyway, a whizzer is, that's okay, one here, all right. A whizzer is where I take this hand on top from an overhook and I push it towards your opposite end. This is gonna torque your shoulder, so just relax. See how it torques that elbow in? Like that. And usually when I start reaching across, guys are letting go. That's the idea. So they'll swim that hand across. And then I'll be able to exit out. Now, if you watch like Francois Botha versus Mike Tyson, or you watch John Jones in any of his fights, he tries to break people's elbows with this, and you can certainly break somebody's elbows with this. All right, but the same way that we use our elbows and our forearms to frame and steer, it's not a strike.
Are you saying I should break the boxers?
I am not saying you should break. I am not
Why?
saying.
Why not? Why? They won't get down elbow.
What I'm saying is a gentle application of force will usually get this job.
That's not technically legal, though.
I believe it is.
Oh, okay.
I believe they have rules against like joint locks, but again, it's one of those things where it's like a lot of boxing exists in this gray area, where like there is this like discrepancy because there are some grappling tactics, there are lots of pushing and shoving tactics, there are some holding and hitting tactics. You know what I mean? And not everything where you're touching a guy is the clinch. You know, like when you and me are sitting here, just shoulder to shoulder, like this isn't the clinch. We're not tied up. We're slipping and sliding across here. That's what boxing is. That's inside fighting. You know? Yeah, that's what boxing is. I think that's the coolest part of the sport, where everything comes together. You know, but it's the same thing. So again, you got that underhook, I got that overhook. And if I drive my hand across, you'll either give this up, or I can drive my hand across and then hip out. So I'll drive my hand across and then walk my hips out and create that disparity. And I end up in that same place where if you try to hit me from the far side when I'm doing that, I can lift that elbow up the exact same way that I lifted up before when I had control of the elbow. So I want you to do these things to me. Okay? So again, you've got the overhook. Good? Head tight. There you go. I've got the underhook right here. You can feel gentle, because my shoulders are delicate. If you just reach your hand for my hip, see how that torques my elbow in? And most guys are going to say, ow, and they're going to slide that hand in and they're going to bail. They're going to protect themselves and they're going to bail. So do that again, sorry. But if you reach, go ahead, and I don't bail, all right, just walk your hand out, walk your hips out, and just slide right past it. And if you're in the middle of doing that, so my hand just clears, and I go to hit you, just lift my arm up. And that creates traffic for me coming through and hitting you. And again, watch Sandy Sadler, watch Willie Pep, you know, watch old school guys know how to work. Even Sugar Ray Robinson, I'll bet you can find footage of him doing this, you know. But again, you're creating traffic, you're pushing that arm through. You know, and don't be afraid to ever, assuming you're using your back like a shield, don't be afraid to go 2-on-1, because that happens all the time, you know. So like maybe we're here and you got the underhook again, and I've got the overhook, and I try doing the whizzer, and it doesn't really work. You know, you're holding too tight. Maybe you're too strong, and you're willing to use that energy, you know. So go ahead, hold tight. You know, I try doing the whizzer, and you're like, I don't give a fuck. Break my arm, you know. All right, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Just use your back like a shoulder to buy yourself time, or it's like a shield, to buy yourself time to do a 2-on-1. So maybe I can't get this overhook to exit. Okay, fine. I'll bring my shoulder in. I'll bring this hand across, and I'll strip this arm, and I'll keep contact with your shoulder all the time.
Do it one more time.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So you've got the underhook, I've got the overhook, you're holding me really tight. So I try to do my whizzer and it ain't gonna happen. Alright? Well, if I sit here and I keep fighting, you're gonna just be busy punching me with this hand. Alright? Okay. So I'm gonna take my back, I'm gonna use it like a turtle shell. I'm gonna use it like a shield. So I immediately turn in, I bring myself shoulder to shoulder, and you notice I've got good control of this arm. There's nothing on this side of my body to hit. My head's right here, so I'm gonna slide down and I'm gonna strip this and walk across.
That's great.
Yep, I do something me and Tyrell did to each other several times.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna use that.
Yeah, it's a great one. So let's do it in reverse, okay? So let's say I've got the underhook, you've got the overhook, and I'm holding you really tight, and you go to do the whizzer, and I'm like, never, never, I'd rather die, you know? Okay, so yep, now this is a nice shield. Bring this hand across, slide your right arm under, yep, to my elbow. Yep, slide your right arm down my wrist. There you go, and now just peel around my shoulder. There you go. Yeah, that's it. It's so easy. You know, you just gotta not freak out. You just gotta think, this is my back's a big shield. Walk it off, cool. Punch my back. I don't give a fuck. You don't have any room to punch anyway. All right, get control of that arm and strip it right across your body. You know, it's not hard. It's just hard to do, hard to remember to do under duress. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And you see me do that a lot. And Chavez does this a lot, where he'll go 2-on-1 with guys right in front of him. He's more confident than me. I usually got to hide behind my back and then go 2-on-1. But you'll see me do this a lot, where like I'll start swimming for this elbow or this underhook, and guys will start fighting me. So you'll push my hand away, and when they start fighting me, I'm going to reach through and try to catch this hand from the far side so that I can exit over here. And then I got y'all bunched up. You know, it's risky to reach across, but as long as you're using your back to protect you, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to. So you can do the same thing. We're here, shoulder to shoulder. Good. If you feel, I feel you start reaching, and I'm like, no, no, and you see me pushing out. Okay, that's fine. Push my elbow across, feed it to the other hand, and now slide your head across. Head over here. There you go. Good. You got good control of this arm. And all of a sudden, it's hard for me to get anything done. You can exit out to the far side. Yeah. I see. That's another grip that I like. You see Joseph Calzaghe does that a lot, where he'll catch that V. It's hard to hair. Especially nice hair like yours.
Well, it won't be a problem if I have my head get up.
There you go. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. You see Joseph Calzaghe catches that elbow, kind of like you ended up doing there, because I never really dropped my arm. But like, I'll do that a lot too, to pin a guy. So like we're in the middle distance, and maybe I kind of want to work on the inside a little bit, but I want to take him down a hand. I'll catch here, or catch here, and then you're down a hand, which is a nice one too. So
another round. That's another round. And you went for the lead.
Good. So here you go. Good. And see how you're using either your head or your shoulder, and then your hand on the back to pin that. So I'm not very strong here. It's like you ever see a guy like hold like an alligator's mouth shut? And you've heard like they've got 6,000 pounds of bite force, but they've only got like 100 pounds of force to like open their mouth. You know, it's the same thing. You know, where like if you can jam somebody's arm in on itself like this little chicken wing here, it's really hard for them to do anything. You know, and it's a good exit. Yep. Cool. Questions so far?
No.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it comes from just finding this flow and kind of moving around. You know. Okay, so we got overhooks. We got underhooks. We talk about how to establish control. All right. We talk about how to deny the clinch. All right. We talk kind of peripherally on framing and tactics like that, spacers. I know we need to talk about establishing these controls. You know, and there's one more thing that I'm missing here. Breaking a fully established clinch. I teach all my guys how to break a fully established clinch because you fucking should know. From a martial artist perspective, from a self-defense perspective, you know, if somebody gets you in those double overhooks or double underhooks or an over-under, you need to know the order of operation to create space. Okay?
I remember the video.
Yeah. So you remember it?
Right?
Yep, one side first. Yep, and then just slowly work out from your shortest to your longest tools. You know, so I usually will drop my weight to give me a little bit of space. I'll turn my body. I'll get my head in there first. Elbow, forearm, hand. Work your way out. So if you feel me do it to you, let's say you got double unders. So you got double underhooks. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop my weight. So the first thing I do is I literally just drop my weight to give me some space. Then I'm going to turn. Oh, great, you gave it up easy. But that's okay. Then I'm going to turn so I have a little bit of room. And that room gives me space to slide my head down. You feel that break? That's what we're looking for. And then from head to forearm to hand. And you work around. You can do the same thing to me. So if I've got doubles, drop your weight, bang. And that already gives you a little bit of room. Turn one shoulder in. There you go. Get your head down low. Good. And then work your elbow up and in. Good. And then push me to the end of your hand. There you go. You just work from your nearest points of space to your longest point of space. Now, this plays out the same way in reverse if you're trying to be offensive on the inside. You heard me already talk about this. I work from here to here to here, so eventually I've got both hands free to hit. Like I said, the head is the penultimate spacer, the penultimate tool on the inside if you want to attack, because it leaves both hands free to punch, all right? And the head is the penultimate tool for creating space, all right, because it just doesn't need as much room. By using my head, I immediately get a leverage advantage by getting lower, all right, and it's nice and strong, and stable, which counts for a lot. Okay. Other questions on that?
On breaking, I mean, you see that was for the
plays out the same way. Plays out the exact same way. The only difference is you really need to get an elbow out before you drop your weight. That's the only difference. So if you've got those double overhooks on me, yeah, I need to find a way to use my head to get an elbow out, and then I can drop my weight down to break that. Because if I just drop my weight down with my elbows, I'm going to destroy my elbows. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you just got to get one elbow out, because then I can keep this one straight while I drop this one down, and it'll create that exit. Make sense? Cool. So again, it feels obvious with boxing gloves. The only grip that is sustainable if you're bringing both hands together is to take these four fingers and just pinch onto the meat of the thumb. So I think about these open, they slide right into place. And now this is pretty strong, and if the gloves aren't here, like I said, it's the gable grip. I'm not doing this where I'm interlocking my thumbs. I'm using this like a handle. Grip strong, and this isn't going anywhere. It's solid, it's a locking mechanism. That's the idea.
Okay.
We've talked about clinch, we've talked about denying the clinch, we've talked about the inside, we've talked about all of your options with framing. Now here's the next thing is establishing. So I showed you some stuff last night. So I showed you just catching and pitching your way to the inside. So usually, you know, if you block a liver shot, you throw a 6 off of that. That's what most people do. They catch and pitch that 6, all right? But depends on what you're going for, you know? Sometimes you catch that shot, and from here it's easy for you to just wrap. Your hand's already on top. So you just slide right through. We talked about that yesterday. Perfect. Plays out the exact same way on this side. You go catch, and you just wrap. Exactly. Good. Up top, you're going to shoot for that underhook. Okay? So if you block up high, bang, you're going to immediately shoot that hand under. Exactly. Good. And really, you know, I say punch. The same way that you like punch an uppercut, you punch your arm right around my arm. So we say it again. Catch, 5. There, you see the difference? Yeah. And the important thing about that is that's going to threaten. You know, you establishing this control should look like a punch. Because if it looks like you're reaching gently and gingerly for somebody's arm, they're going to punch you. But if it looks like you're throwing a punch, they're going to defend, and you're going to get control of that arm. Okay? So you hear me harp a lot on the inside where I say, you know, don't go reaching for arms. Come into contact with each other first, okay? This is this person coming into contact with you first, okay? That's the idea. They come making contact with you. We're not out here free and clear and reaching out. You're making contact with that person first. Yeah, so like the clinch comes to you. It's important to remember that for an inside fight to happen at all, either both guys need to agree to it or one guy needs to force it, you know? So, you know, maybe you and me are both inside fighters. You and me walk right out to the middle of the ring and we go, okay, this is what we're gonna do. You know, it's just like when you watch that Billy and Martinez fight. Yeah. They both walked in and we're like middle distance guys. We're not gonna hang out on the outside. We're gonna try to press it. That's cool. I love it when that happens. You know, it's rare though. Usually if you want to fight on the inside, you gotta force a fight on the inside. You can't force a fight on the inside chasing a guy because he can always step away. You know, you have to force a fight on the inside by cornering a guy, by keeping him on the ropes and then keeping him there. And then it's extra hard once you get a guy there because once you force your way to the inside, he can just tie you up and spin you. Yeah. So, you know, you need to learn not only how to get to the inside, but you need to learn how to keep a guy on the inside. There are lots of tactics that do that. Okay? So one of the big ones, and probably the most obvious, most important one, is that we're holding that elbow. You know? So if we're here, and let's say you're the guy on the ropes, and maybe you don't want to be there, but if you try to shake me and spin me, I can both push and I can pull to keep you off base. If I don't have this control of you, then you're just going to be able to exit anytime you want. Whether you're exiting through, go ahead, take that open side angle, just like that, you know? Or whether you're just holding me and swinging me around. Go swing me around. Yeah, I like that. See? Yeah, so it's hard for me to keep a beat on you. So I think it's really important when you get a guy to the ropes, you get a guy in the corner, you have to find a way to not only be on the inside and hold the elbow, pressure with the shoulder, but you need to find a way to break this person's posture. Okay? So there are lots of ways that you can do that, all right? The big one is using your head. You see, you know, little pressure fighters do this all the time, where they get a guy to the ropes and they pin him up to the ropes like this with their head. Where they use the head on the chest or the head on the shoulder, you use your head to pin this person up. You got it.
I noticed when
Yeah, you have to use your head. You have to use your head if you want to fight on the inside. Like I said, it is the penultimate purchase because it frees up both hands for you to be able to work. Okay? So you got to be able to break that person's posture. You can break that person's posture other ways too, though. You can break that person's posture by standing them up really tall. You can break that person's posture by folding them down low, all right? And you can use your legs to block this person's exit. I do that a lot when I'm working with really squirrely guys. I don't know if you saw me talking to Giovanni about that after my fight with him. You know, we're like, I'll get somebody on the ropes, and I'm not gonna try to knee you, but I'll put my knee right between their legs. Like I'm trying to pin them onto the ropes like this, so that they can't really move side to side. And you know, this knee does, or this foot does a great job of stopping you going this way. And then if you try to go this way, I'll switch to southpaw and do the same thing. So I'm blocking with my knees so that this person can't get off the ropes easily, okay?
While your head is already buried.
Yep, while your head's always buried. This is all a total war effort, you know, what you're trying to do. There's all sorts of other ways. You see a lot of big tall guys, like I said, they'll use that wedge. They'll frame on a guy to keep him there. That's all good too, but you gotta do something that stops this person from spinning you, from exiting. You know, because if they're on the ropes and they're in a nice solid base like this, well, not only are they gonna be able to move easily and exert force forward, but they're gonna be able to turn you. If you can get this person over their heels back like this, so they're actually leaning on the ropes, that's how you can keep them there, okay? So the same way that you and I talked about how when you hit the ropes, you only ever get one butt cheek on the ropes. You want to work really hard when you get somebody else on the ropes to get both their butt cheeks on the ropes or to get their shoulders and their chest behind their hips so that they can't exert force forward. Make sense? Cool. Yeah, knees, head, pushing with those hands, keeping pins. Those are really, really important things. And really, really making a point to stay slippery. And I know that's a weird thing to say. You know Abdullah Mason. I've reached real high on him right now. All right. Abdullah Mason does a really, really good job. When he hits the inside, he is working on the inside, but he's not giving the person anything to grab. You know, he's slippery. He's like a cobra in there, and that's the idea. So it's the same thing. Once I get you there, I don't want to let you get a hold of me, because if you get a hold of me, it's going to be easy for you to turn me. You have all these leverages. You and me have already talked about overhooks and underhooks. But if I'm the one putting you on the ropes, if I can stay tight like this and catch on my turns and not give you anything to hold on to, you know, you try to grab an elbow and my elbow's in, it's tight. Especially with gloves on, that's going to stop you from having anything that can pull you through. And it leaves you with the only option that you can grab is the back of my head, which is illegal. People will do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's, I'd be happy if it wasn't illegal because it gives me opportunities to hit. You know, when you're reaching down here, you can keep your elbows in and you can protect your body, but the second you have to reach up here, all of a sudden it's a lot harder to protect yourself.
Yeah.
That's a long journey for you to take those elbows and arms away from your body to be able to establish control on somebody's neck. You know, I know we're talking all tactical stuff, but this is the game at this point. You know, once you know the tools, it's the tactical stuff, how to do it. So let's head up there real quick. We'll do just a couple little demos of stuff. Traditional knowledge says, I get you on the ropes or I get you in the corner and I want to use the grab at my back to kind of pick at you and move in and out and try to, Bobby said, to cook them, make a mistake. You know what I mean? He was using that term way before anybody else, all right? Cool, but if I'm an inside guy, I know I need to get in here. And this is risky because the second I'm close enough for you to grab, you're gonna grab me and you're gonna try to spin me. Go ahead. I grab my elbow, there you go. This should feel pretty normal, then watch your open side angle. There you go. See, it's easy. You can turn, you can exit, you have advantage, okay? So like I said, you got a couple options when you're here, all right? You want to get low. I want to force your shoulders back. Let's switch spots so you can do these things to me. You know, I'm in this good, nice stance here. If you drop step in and put your shoulder on my chest, good. Now push through. All right, there you go. You got my shoulders behind my hips. That's a good place to start. And you can feel me fumbling to get control of your elbow because I want to exit. And then you'll also feel me fumbling to try to get my feet back under me. If you feel me bring my hips back, you push my chest back. See how that makes it harder? Now my shoulders are behind my hips again. And again, if you run into a place where I do manage to get my hips under me, it looks like I'm going to spin you, literally, forgive me, but literally just stick your knee right through my legs. There you go. Now, I couldn't exit this way if I wanted to. So the second that happens, I'm going to try to step over here and walk through. Then I can't exit this way either. Okay? You can feel like you're using your head as a blocker to keep me there. Now, the next thing is, again, it's harder with gloves on, easier without gloves. But if you do feel me get myself established and I'm really reaching with those elbows, keep everything pinned in real tight. And now it's hard for me to get a grip on you to be able to turn you where I want you. If I've got the gloves on, you're holding everything in snug. Especially once you're slippery. You know, if I'm working with a guy, you know, and I feel that he's really good at getting handles on my elbows, just put a little bit of Vaseline on your elbows. Everybody already does this to cheat, you know. Everybody already knows that old veteran trick where like,
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, okay, cool.
That's what's smiling.
I'm going to teach you a trick. Okay? So, you're not allowed to put Vaseline on the gloves in amateur competition. But they put Vaseline on your face, you immediately put Vaseline on your gloves. Just
Exactly.
You know? So I see this a lot. Sometimes I'll be hitting somebody's guard, go ahead, and it'll be a little too tight for me to get through. So I'll rub that glove across my face so it's nice and slick, and then once I've lubed it up, that'll slide right through and it'll hit them, okay? So that's important to remember. You can do the same thing. Put that Vaseline where it needs to be so that guys can't get a good grip on you, okay? That helps you. That's an advantage. You'd be, again, I always say this, you know, there are different kinds of cheating in boxing. There's malicious cheating where you're headbutting, elbowing, low blowing. That's malicious cheating, you know what I mean? But then there's that gray area, like you don't want to get a concussion for free. Put a little extra Vaseline on your hands. Put some Vaseline on your elbows. Clinch. Let the ref save you if you get hurt to the head. You know what I mean? Are you allowed to clinch? No. Is that illegal? Yes. Is it against the rules? Yes. Should you be getting a concussion today? No. Go ahead and hold the guy. That's okay. You know? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, these are some good ones. You know, keeping everything in tight, keeping pressure, either keeping this person over their heels or keeping their shoulders behind their hips. Those are really, really important things. You can also play rhythm here really, really well. Guys who are experienced, they're going to try to use this extra room, bounce, slide, to exit from tight space. When you see a guy give that, Bob's great at that, truly. Yeah, he's really wonderful at that. So it makes you have to go anywhere. All right. If you see somebody bounce, keep them back. Take that space. Something you have to do. You hear me talk a lot. I was talking about it in class on Wednesday morning. I was saying you have to defend in. You have to defend through your opponent. you know, and you'll hear me say this on Sundays too, you have to be greedy with space, you know? So if we're working with each other out here, you know, if I do a feint and you take a little step backwards, I want that space. If I throw a jab and you take the tiniest step backwards, I want that space. You know, don't sit there and let them go back and then back. You know, don't sit them and let their take every inch they give. You take that space. You want to chew up that space. You want to be as greedy as you can with that space. It's the same thing here. You know, when you get me to the ropes, all right, so we're here, we're nice and strong. Well, I slide away to see if I can slide over. Good, you take that space. Okay, cool. Well, I walk my hips back so I have a little bit more space. You take that space. Good. I try to bounce against the ropes to let myself hip out. You take that space. Good. And all of a sudden you feel, wow, now I'm in a really bad spot where I cannot effectively follow up here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. When they give you a little bit of room, you have to take it. If you just let them bounce and return. I mean, something that I'm a firm believer of is there are advantages to being on the ropes. Strong advantages to being on the ropes. One of my favorite advantages about being on the ropes is that I can be deceptive with my range. You know, when I'm here in open space, you throw a punch at me, I can only lean so far back before I'm gonna have to fix my feet. But one of the cool things about the ropes is like, you throw a punch at me and I can lean back. And you throw a punch at me and I can lean back. And you throw a punch at me and I can lean back. Like, I've got so much, I can lean so far over my base and still recover position that it makes it very deceptive and it lets me land some good counters. That's one of my favorite ways to set up my 5. You know, you haven't been working me on the ropes, but I'll be way back here and guys think I can't go anywhere and they'll throw and like all of a sudden I've got room to bounce in with that 5, you know, and guys expect that, you know, or don't expect that. Yep, so you gotta use the tool that you got to be deceptive with your range and to recognize that if the guy's here, he knows that trick and you need to flatten him out. Don't let him use that extra bonus space and then come back. Force him into it.
This is an area that I haven't even gotten to yet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
This
like,
is an area I don't think I've
yeah.
talked to even any of my guys about much yet. So, you know, you're asking about these questions, and these are good things, you know. But again, I don't want to say you're cutting the line. But again, you know, a lot of my guys, you know, they come here, and I know I've got the time to be like, we have things we need to fix on the outside of the middle distance before we continue on the inside. For you, you show up and you're like, I'm learning on the inside, then I'm gone. And I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna learn on the inside and then you're gone, okay? Questions on any of this so far? Making sense?
Yeah, it makes
Cool.
sense. It makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
I now see the route with my leg on.
Yep.
on your
Oh, and there's one more thing. We talk about veteran taggers. I do this all the time. It's completely cheating. I don't care. I hold the fucking ropes to keep guys on. All the time. One of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. You see me do that. I think you probably.
I had someone teach me that
too.
actually.
Yeah, that's a really important one. Make sure you do it though. Here's a really important nuance: off of an underhook, specifically. Holding the ropes in any other capacity is too easy for somebody to deal with, you know. But off of an underhook locks it in between their arms. So again, if you have an overhook, you get the overhook. There. Now you grab the rope. Obviously, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Because I can just slide out. But if you have an underhook and then you grab the rope, well, now I'm realizing I can't go this way, and because my arm's in the way, I can't go this way either. It creates this really nice locking mechanism under my arm that's going to keep me here. Okay, so yeah, off of the underhook specifically is how you want to use that tactic. Okay. Yep. And if you can, lower ropes are harder for refs to see. All right, it's more near somebody's center of mass. All right, so it's easier to kind of catch them as they try to move. All right, the higher up you get, the more space there is. So again, if you're grabbing way up here, yep, this is good, this is fine, but there is a lot of room here. You know what I mean? If you grab down here, this is better because you can pull your shoulder and your head. Yep, and I can't move my hips through at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Cool.